Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Disventure Camp Hot Takes 6.0, the only series on the channel that actually gets views. I say that as a joke, but you guys know it's true. Today we're going to rank 6 hot takes. These were the hot takes left behind on the 3.0 video. We'll get to the ones left behind in the 5.0 video soon enough, but right now I'm just going to focus on the 3.0 hot takes. We're going to do 6 today, so let's just jump into it. So the first one is IDK if any, it's from Geometry-Gamer8311 says, IDK if anyone else said this before or how much of a hot take it is, but Alec and Riya becoming an actual couple would have been a terrible idea. They are both clearly not over their previous relationships, and it would have been a rebound relationship more than anything. Even the kiss in episode 13 happened just out of Alec being drunk and desperate. So I already talked about this for the most part, but I'll just reiterate what I said then. While I do think it would have been cool to have, a person of color relationship, because Alec is Turkish and Riya is Indian, that would have been cool, but at the same time, it would have really been a rebound, and I don't think it helps both characters. I know people really wanted Gret and Yule to be like, Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, since you guys don't know what that is, Team Rocket, Jesse James dynamic, and I'm guessing that most people want that from Alec and Riya as well. Two conniving villains, that would be fun. They're not villains, but I think that Axel and Ripper in the reboot kind of shows shades of that, of like what a cool, more antagonistic couple would be. But I don't know, I feel like that kind of negates the point of Alec, where Alec really sees himself in Riya. He's like, oh crap, I'm a bad person, I need to be better, and, say what you want about Alec. He has very divisive opinions. I feel like a lot of people are very selective with Alec, where they're really willing to, let go of some of his, worst traits because he's a sexy man, but, Tumblr sexy man. But, I think Alec and Riya are an interesting dynamic, where, because Alec sees himself in Riya, he's like, hey, I will not be a victim of your misery, and all that, and he stands up for himself, and he is more moral than Riya. He's not a very moral person, given the whole thing with the sun and the glass from episode 9. I think episode 9? Was that episode 9? I think so. Maybe that's why no one talked about the awesome Gret and Riya scene, where Riya was like, hey Gret, what happened to you? Because the thing with the glass really overshadowed it. Like, that genuinely might be why, and that does annoy me, because I really think that a lot of the criticism Gret gets in DC All-Stars is like, it's like, guys, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, Gret fucking sucks in All-Stars because, she needs to learn. That's her arc. Anyway, I don't know, man. It would have been out of desperation. I don't think Riya and Alec, would have been good. I think conceptually, it's a cool concept, but, I think for it to work, you would really need to rewrite All-Stars entirely. And some people want to do that, and some people have done that on, fanfiction.net. But for the most part, with what we're given in canon, I don't think it's a good idea. Moving on. The second one is from Hearts4 Trey Official. They say, my hot take is Ted should have made the merge in DC4, like he has so much potential in an arc. I don't know about the arc part. And also he should have been in Fans vs. Favorites, replacing someone like Anastasia from DC Season 4. So, I'm not going to get into the whole, Fans vs. Favorites thing, because I've talked about that to death, where it's like, no pre-mergers, because y'all were kind of being hostile. I say y'all as in, the general fandom. I don't mean literally everyone, but people are being hostile with Connor and Ashley and All-Stars, and so I guess the takeaway was like, okay, no pre-mergers, so that's why Fans vs. Favorites doesn't have any pre-mergers. Anyway, Ted is interesting because he's kind of antagonistic. He's kind of a pathetic, villain. He's not a pathetic person like Alec. He's just kind of he thinks he's better than he actually is. He's, poker player who thinks he's too big for his britches and all that. But, I don't know. Did he have potential? I mean, sure. I know Lech Gang really likes, Ted. I can kind of see it. Ted's cool. He has a cool voice. He has cool potential, but it really is a case of potential, man. I do think that, Anastasia is the one that I would probably replace. Sure, I can see Ted being in DC5. I kind of like that idea. That would have, a pre-merger, but, I don't know. I kind of like it, but I also like Ted, the idea of Ted, because he gets betrayed by Logan, and maybe he's the returner, and now he wants revenge on Logan, or he wants to, talk some smack to him, something like that. That'd be fun, if Ted was given more to do. I feel like with the male villains, you really only have Alec, so a character like Ted could have provided so much more fun, that we sadly didn't get, but yeah. I don't know, he should have made Merge. I mean, I don't know about Merge, but, I feel like for what he is, for, just being a comic relief sort of character who's not even that relevant to the story, other than to be an early boot, I think he suits his purpose. I'm not mad with Ted, but I can see why people would prefer he make it farther. Next up, we have from Tom Universe, Allie with the first voice actress in the beta was so much funnier than the current Allie with Thank Him going there and stop their Lone Ranger. I heard that something bad happened, replaced that voice actress, but I wish that ONC would have Allie act the same way. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of those gags, and thank you for mentioning Stop There Lone Ranger. I feel like Thank You I'm Going There has really eclipsed Stop There Lone Ranger. Stop There Lone Ranger was the meme from 2022 to 2023. It was around 2024 that Thank You I'm Going There really took off. If you notice in DC All-Stars episode 5, there's a reference to Stop There Lone Ranger, but there's no reference to Thank You I'm Going There, because Thank You I'm Going There was not a meme when we were writing it. It only became a meme afterwards, and yeah, I don't know, it really... Like, it was so big that it eclipsed Stop There Lone Ranger. Stop There Lone Ranger, like, I bet half of you don't even know what I'm talking about. There's a scene in the beta of DC2, episode 5, I think, where Allie's like, "Stop there, Lone Ranger," and it feels really out of place. And very non-sequitur as well, which is, I guess that foreshadows how non-sequitur some of the pop culture references ended up being. But, yeah, no, I mean, a lot of that comedy is unintentional. I'm not going to get into what the voice actor did, because even I don't fully understand what happened, even though I was there at the time, you know, DC2, Kai. Yeah. So, like, yeah, I think a lot of the comedy from the original Ellie voice actor, that was unintentional humor. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we could say... Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. You could say that, like, yeah, the current Ellie's not nearly as funny, but it's like, that was never really the point. But I do agree that I wish that the remake, the DC2 remake, made Allie kind of, like, mid and overrated, maybe cringy. She really tries her best to be liked. And I know that's kind of there with the fans, but I'm like, no, like... Try to do it without her realizing the hate. Like, make DC2, just have her be a cringe ball. And then in All-Stars, that's when the arc happens. I don't know how I feel about, like, in-universe, the fans started hating on her. I'm like, I don't know. Next up, Tom Universe also says, Isabelle is best as a morally great character, not a villain. I mean... I feel like you could swing in either direction, but I feel like by the end of Isabelle's run, she's really like, no, am I a bad person? And it's like, no, come on, let's not swing all the way there. I kind of like the idea of villain Isabelle, but morally gray Isabelle is also fun, because it's so subversive of what you'd think like a nun would act, and to just not do that can provide a lot of fun. Next up we have, Tom Universe also says, first season Fiori is annoying and rude. ONC has trouble writing interesting villains that are also likable. I mean, rude, yeah. Annoying? I don't know. I feel like maybe that's because of the whole, not suspension of disbelief, but like just the conditioning of like, oh, this is like a child. You're like, okay, she's annoying, but it's like that's how children would act. Maybe that's why most people don't see it. Interesting villains that are also likable? I don't know, because like you're not meant to like the villains, but also like you're not meant to like, you know, just be disgusted at them whenever they're on screen. You're supposed to like love to hate them, right? Yule can work either or. Some people love to hate Yule. Some people just hate Yule, period. Riya is the same thing. Who's the villain? DC4, there's no set villain, I don't think. Isabelle is probably, like, the closest, maybe? And, well, some interpretations of Logan, yeah. But, I don't know. I feel like that makes DC4 more fun. If I were to ever rewatch that season, I still haven't, interpreting Logan as the villain could be kind of fun. But, yeah, Fiori, annoying and rude. ONC has trouble writing interesting villains that are likable. I don't know. I feel like Alec is, like, an interesting case, and I brought this up because people are very selective about how they treat Alec. Like, he's pathetic. He's kind of a loser, but some people have a crush on that, maybe if fetish even, to the point where they're willing to, like, let it slide because they turn the blind eye to some of his worst traits, and it's like, you can't just ignore that part of that character, come on. I know that some of our writing philosophies were to highlight that. That's why that scene's there in episode 9. And now people have an excuse to not include it. Now people are like, oh, see, they only added that to make it more hateable. We can ignore it. It's not canon. Whatever. Next up, we have from Gurasola. Ted had to be eliminated early. If he was kept around for too long, it would have been very hard to get rid of him. The way he read Linda so easily in the first few episodes was a sign he couldn't last too long in the season, in hindsight at least. Imagine somebody who can tell what others are planning by looking at their face, making a deep run in the game. I think the writers realized that too. I mean, like, you know, obviously, it's the same thing where... if you remember, sometimes Jared will be like, oh, Emily decided this, Emily decided this. Yes, Emily decided that, but you're the writer for Emily, right? You control Emily. The same way the writers control Ted. That's why Ted, to my knowledge, he's blindsided, right? Logan blindsides him. He doesn't see it coming. He doesn't see it coming. So, I don't know. You could do a lot of interesting things there with Ted, where it's like maybe he sees, you know, there's some tells, so he can tell when someone's bluffing. But he clearly didn't see Logan, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. The writers, I don't know. This is an interesting take, because it's saying, like, oh, Ted, you know, Ted being eliminated early is fine. And I do agree that I'm happy with what Ted is of the season. I do think he could have lasted maybe a few more episodes, but that pre-merge is still super fun even without him. So I don't know. Well, okay, maybe super fun's an exaggeration. Decently fun, decently fun. I'm not the biggest DC4 fan, to be honest, but Anyway, next up we have Lightning versus Lightning. Ooh, Lightning McQueen versus Lightning from Total Drama. Very interesting. If you're still taking hot takes, mine would be Logan isn't a terrible winner. Don't get me wrong, he had some pretty bad moments, but overall, I would argue from a story standpoint, Logan is better than Miriam and Riya as a winner. I honestly think the analysis Logan's actor gave for him has made me appreciate him more, even if I think he has room for improvement. I know your mom died, Hannah, but getting bronze really sucked, man. That is still, like, one of my most, like, I'm still so baffled that they let that happen. I get it. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so that Logan and Hannah are able to relate to each other. It's supposed to segue into, like, oh, you're not the only one with trauma, but the way it is written, it really makes Logan seem like he's invalidating Hannah's concerns. Like, yeah, well, you know, I got bronze. You know, he's really trying to, like, you know that meme where it's, like, the friend that only wants to talk about himself? That's kind of what it comes across as. And, you know, I get it. I haven't read Tony, I believe the name is, Logan's VA's analysis, so I can't really comment too much on it. But Logan is better than Miriam or Riya? I mean, like, Miriam, I think, was a revenge story. After the dramatic episode 10 where Alec and Fiori, you know, make Tom waste his idol, and then, you know, Jake goes the next episode, I really think that it's more of a story as to why Fiori, Alec, and Ellie lost, rather than why Miriam won. I do think it's nice, and it is, you know, a nice gimmick to have, like, your super old grandma character win, especially because so many people thought she was, like, going to be, like, early merge boot, but she ends up, you know, being the winner. That's surprising. That surprised a lot of people at the time. Remember the Miriam Miracle? I remember when I read DC1 for the first time, and I don't really talk about my DC1 writing experience that much, because, like, it's the less interesting of the two seasons that I worked on, but, like, we did not see Miriam winning coming at all. That was so surprising. Like, it was obviously, you know, surprising for you guys. In hindsight, it's like, yeah, DC1 is so synonymous with Miriam winning, but, like, if you remember in early 2023, or mid-2023, it's like no one really saw that coming. I miss those days, man. Those are simpler times. But, yeah, no, I can see the argument for better than Miriam. Better than Riya, I don't know. Like, if you're talking from a gameplay perspective, like, Riya had strategy, she won immunities, you know, she played her cards pretty well, I would say. If you're talking about from a writing perspective, though, I don't know, because, like, I really like what Riya represents. If you're taking it at face value, where it's like, were they deserving, then yeah, Riya did not deserve to win, right? Because she was an asshole to everyone, she treated everyone like shit, she burned a lot of bridges. Logan kind of, you know, he flipped a lot, but, like, he wasn't, like, an asshole, everyone forgave him for whatever reason, without any consequences, like, even minor consequences, even something where he's like, I'm sorry. Like, I know him and Zayd had, like, the we good moment, but, like, you know, come on. Is Logan better than Riya? I don't know, like, from a surface level perspective, yes, but from, like, a narrative perspective, I don't know, I like how Riya is meant to be unsatisfying. I love that. I fucking love that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna defend that forever and ever. Like, it's so cathartic to see this subversion in the genre. The genre, you know, if you do the same beat for beat, yes, it's satisfying, but it's also repetitive. I've been in this genre for, like, over a decade. I'm tired of it. I will say, the day Logan won was so shocking on Twitter because no one saw that coming. Everyone thought Jade had it in the bag. He's just, Logan Hell was such a big meme. It's like, it's so funny in hindsight. It's like, how did this happen? How did you write a character that it's so, like, you can't interpret him as the golden boy, but the writing he comes across as such a, you know, I don't know how to describe it, such a boring white boy. I don't know, man. Better than Miriam, sure. Better than Riya, okay, fine, I get it. Riya is not beloved in All-Stars. A lot of people don't like All-Stars. I can see the vision, but, like, I don't agree with it. I like how James wasn't even included. Do people like James? I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of feedback for the remake, to be honest, so I can't really say for sure. I didn't even finish the remake, to be honest. Like, I have a rough idea of how it went, obviously, and I was in the season, but I don't know. Do people think James is the best winner, then? I don't know. Lastly, we have from CodyFan1413, hot take, Jake's arc in All-Stars was amazing. It definitely has some bumps on the road, but any issues I had can be blamed on other characters, as Jake himself managed to remain likable throughout. The only issue I had with him was his crummy apology to Alec in episode 10, but considering this was meant to be a major low point, I can forgive it. Yeah, episode 10 is the big low point for Jake. You know, Ashley goes because of his actions, his inability to ally with Aiden, and he spends the rest of the season really making amends with Aiden, with Allie. He, you know, helps comfort Connor. Jake is always the character that, you know, he trauma dumps on people, but for once, he listens to Connor. He lets him vent, and unlike Logan, he doesn't make it about himself. So, I mean, it's pretty great. A lot of people don't like that scene because it's like, oh, Connor's a Nepo baby, and it's like, yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to feel complicated about it. You're like, yeah, oh man, like, he feels like shit because he's a Nepo baby, and on one hand, it's like, I can't relate to a Nepo baby, but, you know, that creates complexity. That creates fun. I like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for liking it. Anyway, this is not about Connor. This is about Jake. I don't know. I like Jake's arc. I like how he doesn't win in the end, because, like, ultimately, while he did make his amends, he was kind of really frustrating throughout the season, and in the end, you're rooting for him to beat Riya. That's what the story tries to make you do, at least. And so it's cathartic to see the three most unlikable characters. You can even argue Connor. A lot of people didn't like him, and the fact that he was in All Stars, not the fact that he was in All Stars, not the fact that his performance in All Stars, because like a lot of people have already made their complaints about him, but even beforehand, I would say that the top four characters of that season, Ali, Riya, Jake, and Connor, are like the most controversial characters, and I think that's genius. I think that it is genius to make it that like this is not about the favorite characters. This is about the characters who fought for it the most deserving characters. And so because like they all feel like early merge boots or whatever, like you're like, oh, none of them can win, but they end up being the final four. That's so creative. That's so fun. I love that. It's a deconstruction of the genre. It's so man, I'm gushing about All Stars again. The All Stars Glazer is back. But yeah, no, I mean, so to see like just these unlikable characters make the end game, and then Jake turns out to be the hero, but he loses in the end. It's like, it's beautiful, man. Fucking hell, man. I love that season. You'll never make me not like that season. God. Maybe you just need to be old. Maybe in like 20 years people like that season. When you guys have like, more seasons where it's kind of predictable and hero's journey. But yeah, this is a good hot take, Cody. I agree with that. Cody fan. Maybe that's why you agree, because you're you seem to like Cody and World Tour based on the profile pic. Maybe you've been watching since 2010, so you're also like tired of the usual narrative for these kind of shows. Anyway, thanks for watching. This was a shorter episode. I will get to more hot takes in the future. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like and let me know if you want more. Goodbye, everybody.